everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. So a quick update on Leela. She is doing amazing, really. She's come along absolute leaps and bounds from where we were just a short while ago to where she is now. And when I say leaps and bounds, she's certainly given me some grey hair because I'm constantly running around after her now because she thinks that she can run and I'm having to stop her from climbing on things, jumping off things. I'd imagine it's very similar to what it's like having a toddler that's just learnt to walk again. But considering the outcome and the other way it could have gone, I'm very, very grateful, although somewhat slightly stressed. So with royal news, we've got a little bit of the Duchess of Edinburgh, a little bit of Prince William, and we're going to have to start off with Harry because he's not really having a good week. But this all centres around his court case and it seems to be going from bad to worse. I know many of you have probably lost count of the amount of court cases that Harry has had against various media groups. This, I believe, is the final one that Harry is fighting, and this is Harry alongside several other claimants, including Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, Baroness Lawrence, just to name a few that I can think of off the top of my head, and that is against A&L, which owns the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. Now, it's not been going great for them because in recent months we have seen quite a lot of stories where evidence has been, well, newly added and also thrown out by a somewhat irritated judge, Justice Nicklin. Justice Nicklin was telling Harry's team off just a matter of months ago because they tried to add evidence last minute when you think that the court case starts in January. They've been building up this case for what, 4-5 years, I think it is, and then they try and squeeze stuff in at the end. But the biggest problem was it wasn't evidence that actually has to do with any of the claimants. As many of you will remember, it was evidence to do with Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Prince William being hacked. So the judge was like, well, that doesn't actually relate to you or your case, so that's not going in. And it wasn't the only thing. He also threw out allegations against the news group where they were being accused of ordering burglaries of the clients' homes to order, which again related to another case and another person. Justice Nicklin said, "I'm putting it bluntly, it has become a complex and involved sideshow." He also accused Harry's legal team of being unorthodox and that they had a fundamental misunderstanding of the scope of litigation. That translates to, stop pissing around, you're wasting my time. But this is where it's all gone a bit belly up again for Harry and his team even further because their star witness, a private investigator called Gavin Burrows, the man whose confession reportedly ignited this case, how Harry allegedly convinced several people to join the case, such as Baroness Lawrence, because of this man's evidence. Well, he's now said that his witness statement that they were using as a key piece of evidence was forged. He'd allegedly said back in 2021 that he and his team of private investigators had been hired by the Mail on Sunday and worked to obtain voicemails, tapping people's phones and bugging cars, as well as blagging private records. Now, Mr. Burrows actually retracted that statement back in 2023, but Harry's legal team have pushed on ahead as having him as the key witness. Well, in September, he has done another official statement, which was released last week. And he has made it very, very clear that it is not his signature on the 2021 confession. It was also prepared by others, and he does not accept the accuracy of the contents. I do not recognise the earlier witness statement of the 16th of August 2021, and I believe that my signature on that document is a forgery. A lot of it is not written in my type of language. Further, the contents of the statement are substantially untrue, and he said that he'd never carried out work for the Mail on Sunday or the Daily Mail. In his original retraction in 2023, Mr. Burrows made it clear that he was never hired by the Daily Mail or the Mail on Sunday to conduct unlawful information gathering. He signed a statement of truth as well, which is a declaration that he could be subjected to legal proceedings if he was making a false statement. Harry has insisted that he was told Mr. Burrows had been commissioned by the news group, and it's Mr. Burrows' apparent confession in his 2021 statement that had been used as the main piece of evidence to get other claimants on board. The fact that he retracted it in 2023 and yet they have still gone ahead with this being used as their, credible evidence? It's bizarre to me. And as for the news statement that he did in September this year, Harry's barrister David Sherborne said that Mr. Burrow's news statement was a grotesque inclusion meant to be an attack on parts of the legal team. Justice Nicklin told him, "This is open justice, Mr. Sherborne. How can Harry's legal team refuse to accept Mr. Burrow saying, 'I didn't work for the Daily Mail or the Mail on Sunday'?" He did, however, say that he was recruited by Harry's team of legal researchers to help gather evidence in this court case to go against A&L, and he was on a monthly retainer of £5,000 per month. So now, instead of Gavin Burrow being like the star witness, the amazing piece of evidence that they were going to use to win against Associated Newspapers, now it seems that Associated Newspapers might be able to win because of Gavin Burrows, because the judge has now ordered Harry's legal team and the researchers to provide relevant material that they had gathered over the course of the last few years to present and to use as evidence. Because at the moment, seeing words like forged statements going round is now making people question, well, if Gavin Burrows' statement was in fact a forgery, what about some of the other statements that were given by apparent witnesses? That's obviously quite a big issue for Harry and his legal team. From everything that I've been reading about this case, I can't see that they've actually presented any hard evidence to back up the serious allegations that they're throwing at the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. And the fact that their key witness, the whole reason why this case apparently came about, has said the statement that you're using is actually a forgery. I don't stand by it. It doesn't bode well for that case. It's almost as if it's been built on sand. So I think in January next year, if it still continues, of course, we might see Harry, rather than slaying dragons, ending up with a rather scorched bottom and an extremely scorched bank account. I don't know about you, but I can't think that it could happen to a nicer person. Now, it's been relatively quiet from Meghan's camp at the moment, probably licking some serious wounds where they weren't expecting the Kardashians to call out their bullshit. But Meghan has released another little clip for her festive holiday special, and everybody is panning it. It's not just the table that looks bland and boring, even her Christmas decor looks absolutely miserable. From boring stockings to everything just being neutral colours, it reminds everybody of the bullshit she told. The only reason why she wore nude and muted tones was because she didn't want to upset members of the royal family. No, it's because Meghan has always been beige, bland and boring and loves wearing burnt porridge coloured clothes. But to say this holiday special is all about bringing the joy into Christmas from everything that anyone's seen to do with Meghan's holiday recipes or her decorations, it just seems that Meghan really knows how to suck the fun and the joy even out of Christmas. Now, moving away from the ex-royals, let's talk about a real royal and some lovely news. This is a story that definitely put a smile on my face, and I hope that it does yours. Prince William just repaired and opened a new road that had been waiting 48 years for it to happen. The Duke of Cornwall, as he is known when visiting the Duchy, an area of land managed by the Prince, initiated the creation of a consortium of businesses and local people to create the new road, which was plagued by dangerous potholes and created congestion for the small local village of Poole. The local football club, Mousehole AFC, was only accessible by a narrow, cavity-filled lane through the village. It led to damaged vehicles, plenty of pop tyres, and has been a logistical nightmare for visiting football teams and supporters of the club. After Prince William learned of the issues, he got busy with the Duchy and CRH, which is a building materials group, and they pulled the funding together and the new road was completed in 4 weeks. Prince William, who is the patron of the Football Association, learned that the club was playing so well that they were rising up the ranks in the Football League despite the access issues. Even though the club is not on duchy land, it's still part of Cornwall and he wanted to personally support them. Around 250 people turned up to the football grounds to welcome Prince William, including the under 10 players who were all very excited to shake his hand and have their photos taken with him. Needless to say, I think he made a very tiny village very happy, and I thought that was a nice, cheerful story to share with you. Now, in some more lovely news, the Duchess that everybody loves, the one that is the royal family's secret weapon, otherwise nicknamed as Super Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, she is currently on a 9-day tour of Latin America, visiting Peru, Panama, Guatemala, and she will also be having a pit stop to Belize and Brazil. Sophie arrived in Peru and on her first engagement met with female leaders and women's rights defenders of the indigenous people to raise awareness of the crucial role that these women play in territorial governance and the protection of the Peruvian Amazon. She later joined Gavin Cook, who is the British ambassador to Peru, and took a beautiful walk along the Iquitos riverfront before later changing into another stylish dress to attend a dinner hosted by the Biodiverse Landscape Fund, which is a UK organisation and part of the Andes Amazon Project, which aims to reduce poverty and protect and restore biodiversity and ecosystems. With the Amazon rainforest covering nearly 60% of Peru, I can only imagine the incredible amount of biodiversity that's there, and of course the importance of conservation and protection. The next day, Sophie visited Iquitos Naval Base and took a tour of the BAP America, which is the oldest river gunboat in the world and was built in Liverpool in 1904. Whilst she was there, she took a tour of the local village, as many people wanted to come out and see what Sophie was up to and who she was, before she went on to meet champion aguaje climber Lisbeth Samara Pizango, who spoke to the Duchess about their sustainable practices harvesting the aguaje fruit. The fruit is widely consumed across Peru, not just by the humans, but also by the resident monkeys that live there as well. After learning about how Samara climbs the trees to harvest the fruits, Sophie put on a pair of wellies to protect her ankles from the creepy crawlies, and she set off to explore the Peruvian Amazon. I'm honestly so very jealous that Sophie got to see a sloth in its natural habitat. They're one of the animals that I've always adored. I've only ever seen them in a zoo, so it would be amazing one day to see them up in the trees doing their thing, which is mostly sleeping, to be fair. Sophie also, and a trigger warning here for people that don't like spiders, Sophie also got to meet a Goliath bird-eating spider. I don't mind spiders, but when they get to that sort of size, I'm quite happy sitting here looking at them through a screen rather than actually walking through a jungle. So if I do ever go to Peru, I think I would be in an all-in-one hazmat suit, the thought of them being everywhere. And my husband is actually arachnophobic, so I'm not sure I'd ever be able to convince him if they've got those wandering around. Although I did get him to Australia, so if he can handle Australia, he can handle the Peruvian Amazon. After Sophie was done with meeting the creepy crawlies, she met something a little less offensive and rather cute and adorable, and it was these baby tortoises, which I'm sure Sophie definitely had a warm affection for, because the Edinburghs have their very own family tortoise called Marmite that the Duchess has spoken about a few times, as Prince Edward once joked that the tortoise runs the house. So there you go, folks. Not only do we have pet royal horses, lots of dogs, we also have a royal tortoise to add to the mix. After Sophie's jungle tour, she also had the amazing experience of taking a boat ride along the Amazonian River. Again, I'm so very jealous of this trip of Sophie. She always showcases the country that she's visiting extremely well, but Peru looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to follow the rest of this tour. Sophie always showcases the countries that she visits so well. It makes me want to grab my passport and book a flight, but with everything we've had to pay out for Leela recently, I think it might be some time before my husband and I can afford a decent holiday. But what a beautiful destination to perhaps even just plan to go to in the future. So guys, I will be back with you tomorrow. We've got more royal news coming out, and Harry and Meghan have yet again been caught up in another lie. You think that these two would just learn and they would stop, but it seems something that they are completely incapable of doing. Anyway, guys, on that note, I will be back with you tomorrow. Take care for now. Bye.